Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Perkenalkan, nama saya Tri Ubaida Maya Ardianti dari Program Studi D3 Bahasa Inggris, Departemen Bisnis, Fakultas Vokasi, Universitas Erlangga. Saya ditugaskan mengajar mata kuliah Academic Writing di Program Studi D3 Bahasa Inggris. Penanggung jawab mata kuliah ini adalah Bapak Lutfi Ashar Mauludin SPD MA MPD dengan anggota tim dosen terdiri dari Bu Anissa Endriastuti M.Hum dan saya sendiri. Seperti yang tertulis di dalam RPS, capaian pembelajaran mata kuliah ini adalah mahasiswa mampu berkomunikasi secara tertulis dalam bahasa Inggris untuk berbagai macam topik dalam tata bahasa Inggris yang kompleks. CPMK ini kemudian dikhususkan ke dalam konteks penulisan akademik seperti menulis proposal magang dan tugas akhir. Sehingga di akhir perkuliahan, mahasiswa diharapkan dapat mendemonstrasikan kemampuan menulis mereka pada penulisan proposal magang dan tugas akhir yang terdiri dari bab 1, 2, 3, 4, dan 5 sesuai dengan panduan yang ditetapkan oleh fakultas menggunakan tata bahasa Inggris yang kompleks. Materi perkuliahan yang berdasar pada penulisan proposal magang dan tugas akhir kemudian dipecah menjadi beberapa dan disesuaikan dengan jumlah pertemuan dalam satu semester, yakni 14 pertemuan. Materi perkuliahan dibagi menjadi 1, panduan penulisan proposal magang, 2, panduan penulisan tugas akhir, 3, APA style citation and referencing, 4, bab 1 tugas akhir yang merupakan introduction, terdiri dari background of the report, statement of problem, purpose of the report, dan significance of the report. 5, bab 2 tugas akhir yang merupakan review of related literature. 6, bab 3 tugas akhir yang merupakan methods of the report, terdiri dari participants and location, data collection, data analysis, dan framework of the report. 7, bab 4 tugas akhir yang merupakan discussions, terdiri dari results, obstacles, added values, dan related courses. Dan yang terakhir, 8, bab 5 tugas akhir yang merupakan summary, terdiri dari conclusion dan recommendation. Pada mata kuliah ini, mahasiswa diharapkan melakukan studi kasus pada sebuah profesi yang berkaitan dengan keilmuan program studi dan menuliskan hasil studi mereka ke dalam format tugas akhir. Dengan kata lain, mata kuliah ini mempersiapkan mahasiswa untuk membuat tugas akhir sebenarnya pada semester berikutnya. Perbedaan antara tugas akhir tiruan yang dibuat pada mata kuliah ini dengan tugas akhir sebenarnya yang akan dibuat pada semester berikutnya terletak pada jumlah pertanyaan penelitian yang harus dikerjakan. Karena TA tiruan dibuat sebagai persiapan pembuatan TA sebenarnya pada semester berikutnya, mahasiswa cukup meneliti satu pertanyaan penelitian saja dan menuliskan hasilnya berdasarkan panduan yang berlaku. Dan karena pandemi COVID-19, dalam satu semester ini, perkuliahan dilaksanakan secara hibrid atau kombinasi, yang mana sebagian pertemuan dilaksanakan secara daring dan sebagian yang lain dilaksanakan secara luring, sesuai dengan kesepakatan dosen dan mahasiswa. Dalam proses pembelajaran, saya menerapkan metode writing workshop yang menitikberatkan pada pembelajaran berbasis mahasiswa atau student-centered learning. Writing workshop adalah metode pembelajaran menulis yang diperkenalkan oleh Graves pada tahun 1988 dan Atwell pada tahun 1990. Hingga saat ini, metode tersebut masih banyak digunakan pada kelas menulis, baik itu kelas menulis bagi penutur asli maupun penutur asing. Writing workshop terdiri dari 4 aktivitas pembelajaran yang saling berkaitan, yang mana kuantitas penerapannya disesuaikan dengan kebutuhan mahasiswa. 4 aktivitas tersebut meliputi mini lesson, independent writing, student-teacher conference, dan class sharing. Keempat aktivitas tersebut merupakan wujud realisasi dari teori Zone of Proximal Development dari Vygotsky pada tahun 1978, di mana pihak yang lebih berpengalaman atau mahir membantu pihak yang kurang mahir untuk akhirnya mencapai standar yang ditetapkan. Pada kasus saya menerapkan mini lesson untuk menyampaikan materi utama kepada mahasiswa dan tambahan materi yang dibutuhkan oleh mahasiswa berdasarkan pengamatan di lapangan. Misalnya, pada penulisan background of the report, saya mengadakan mini lesson untuk membahas cara menyusun argumen menggunakan teknik inverted pyramid. Di dalam video ini akan terlihat saya memberikan mini lesson pada mahasiswa terkait penulisan in-text citation berdasarkan APA Style 6 Edition sebagai bentuk penguatan pemahaman dan kemahiran mahasiswa dalam penyusunan bab 1 dan 2 tugas akhir. Setelah mini lesson, mahasiswa akan dibimbing untuk menulis secara independen atau independent writing berdasarkan topik TA yang mereka pilih. Pada tahapan ini, saya menghimbau mahasiswa untuk fokus pada kemajuan menulis mereka masing-masing tanpa harus membandingkan diri mereka dengan orang lain karena tiap orang mempunyai kecepatan belajar yang berbeda-beda dan kegiatan independent writing ini dapat dilakukan di dalam kelas maupun di luar kelas. Kemudian, tahapan selanjutnya adalah Student Teacher Conference atau konsultasi kemajuan kualitas tulisan mahasiswa yang dilakukan secara privat atau satu persatu dengan saya sebagai dosen. Pada saat yang bersamaan, mahasiswa yang lain bisa meneruskan independent writing. Selama konsultasi, saya akan memberikan umpan balik baik secara lisan maupun tulisan secara langsung, dan saya memberikan kebebasan pada mahasiswa untuk bercerita atau bertanya. Di akhir sesi konsultasi, saya akan merekap kendala-kendala yang ditemui mahasiswa selama independent writing dan merencanakan mini lesson selanjutnya untuk memfasilitasi mahasiswa menemukan solusi untuk masalahnya. Hal ini dilakukan karena sesi konsultasi cenderung terbatas, sehingga pembahasan yang lebih rinci akan saya lakukan selama sesi mini lesson sebagai bentuk penguatan praktik menulis yang telah mereka lakukan sebelumnya. Aktivitas terakhir yaitu class sharing dilaksanakan secara berkelompok sesama mahasiswa atau dilaksanakan dalam kelas besar dengan arahan dari dosen sehingga mahasiswa dapat berdialog dengan rekan sejawat dan dosen mengenai tulisan mereka masing-masing. Mereka pun juga dapat berdialog mengenai kekhawatiran mereka dan bertukar saran. Rangkaian aktivitas yang bernaung di bawah metode writing workshop ini dilakukan secara berulang dan disesuaikan dengan kebutuhan mahasiswa berdasarkan tiap tulisan yang ditugaskan pada mahasiswa. Selain penerapan metode writing workshop, saya juga menekankan pada keautentikan tulisan yang mahasiswa hasilkan. Dalam hal ini, saya menggunakan fasilitas universitas untuk mengakses Turnitin untuk memeriksa keaslian tulisan mahasiswa. Pada tahap asesmen, saya menggunakan rubrik penilaian analitik ESL Profile yang meliputi 5 kriteria, yaitu content, organization, vocabulary, language usage, and mechanics dengan 4 tingkatan kualitas, yaitu very poor, fair to poor, good to average, dan excellent to very good dengan rentang nilai 0 sampai 100 poin. Saya menggunakan rubrik ini untuk meminimalisir subjektivitas saya dalam menilai tulisan mahasiswa. Baik, setelah ini, mari kita simak video pembelajaran dengan penerapan metode writing workshop di penulisan tugas akhir.
Where did you learn Mandalay before, Anissa? Oh, your friend. Okay. Anything else?
References?
References, nice. Okay. So how significant is references for academic writing, guys? Journal, okay. How significant? How important?
Really important.
Really important. Good point. Yes, good point. It is used to strengthen the opinion, yeah, that you write in the academic writing. Very good. And now we are going to specifically discuss about APA Style 6th edition. As we know, APA Style has a lot of editions, and we are currently having the newest edition, which is 9th edition. But in this course, we are going to just stick to the 6th edition because this is what we use in the file report guideline. Okay. And today we're going to specifically discuss about in-text citation. So can you mention something about in-text citation? dalam. Okay, text. Text, okay, citation. Okay, so what does that mean? Yeah, very good. Citasi di dalam teks. Good job. Now let's move on. So today we're going to focus on the three parts. The first one is the objective of learning. The second one is plagiarism, and the third one is dialect and indirect citation. Let's take a look at the objective. So by the end of this course, I'd like you to be able to understand how to avoid plagiarism. And the second one is to demonstrate your ability in improving your writing credibility through in-text citation. Because as we have mentioned before, in-text citation is needed to improve or to strengthen your opinion in academic writing. So let's take a look at plagiarism. So there are two kinds of plagiarism as you are now seeing on the screen. The first one is plagiarism in general, and the second one is self-plagiarism. So plagiarism here is defined as quoting an author directly. Like for example, you are reading a book, a reference book, or maybe a journal article. You are quoting somebody's words from that reference, okay? And then you are paraphrasing it or describing an idea that influenced your work, but you do not mention the source, okay? So even though you are paraphrasing it, but if you do not mention the source, it is also claimed as plagiarism. Understood? Nice, okay. And the next one is self-plagiarism. So what do you think is the difference between plagiarism and self-plagiarism, guys? So we have an additional word, self, before the plagiarism. Can you imagine what it is about? Yes. Very well. What do you think?
I think so. Like you have the differences with the plagiarism is not changing the text structure or maybe the sentence that is recited with our text.
Okay, not really. Okay, that is still plagiarism in general. But self-plagiarism means that you have published a work previously, like maybe you are producing a journal article that is published already, and then you are trying to input what you wrote previously into your own new writing without crediting the source. Yeah.
Taking the source from our work.
Yes, very good. From your own published work. So for example, if Yapsa has published a journal article in 2018 and you would like to make a continued project in 2022, and this project is still related to your work in 2018, if you are trying to cite the idea from your 2018 work, you need to mention your work, even though it is your own work, get the idea. So you cannot claim old idea as if it were new, because it is claimed as self-plagiarism. Understood? So James Brown is actually citing James Brown's own papers. That is because to avoid self-plagiarism. Any questions?
The self-plagiarism. Is it like we are just, what is that, agree with what we are thinking in our work before? I mean, in citing sources is to strengthening our opinion in our project. But if we are using the old idea that we have been published before, doesn't it mean the new project that we made is what is that? It's basically is fully of our opinion.
Okay, let me rephrase it again so
Yeah.
that we have the same perception. So you mean that if you have an old idea and then you have a new project which is related to the old idea and it is the development of the older idea, then it is okay to use that idea instead of the new. Yeah. Is it still self-plagiarism?
It's not like we are agree with what our thinking
Yes.
thinking
Yeah.
is.
Okay, the problem is not on the agreeing on the older idea, but the not mentioning the source. Get the idea? So you can agree with your older idea, but you have to mention the source. Let's say, Hamsa Australia, yeah. You published a work in 2017, and then you are agreeing to your opinion in 2017 work, and you need to mention, according to Australia, 2017. Get the idea? So it is okay if you are trying to agree with the previous work, but you need to mention the source, even though that is your own work. Got it? Go to the degree of plagiarism. Let's do a tap on your understanding if you understand plagiarism enough. Take a look at number 1. Copying a paragraph by changing a few words and giving citation. Is it a plagiarism or not? Okay. Yes or no?
No.
Are you sure?
I think.
I think yes or no?
No.
Yeah. Anyone says yes?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Rudy and Farina. Why would you say yes, Rudy?
Copying a paragraph. A paragraph is
Oh.
a paragraph has a few sentences, but changing a few words. I think it doesn't matter. A few words can be categorized as plagiarism.
Okay. Only few words. Okay. What is still remaining the same?
The whole idea and paragraph is still there. A paragraph that can copied, but just a few words in it that can change. It doesn't even what is that? Make the paragraph a new opinion from the writer.
Okay. Why?
It's the idea because taking a paragraph is about other opinion, other people's opinion that fully copied and just changing a few words to make it look different. And giving us a citation is some sort of direct citation.
Okay. So what is still fundamentally the same? Farina? If we only change the few words, what is fundamentally the same?
Structure.
Yes, very good. The sentence structure is still the same. That is why it is still easy to detect the text as plagiarism. Get the idea? Okay, nice. So when you are trying to paraphrase something, you have to make sure that the sentence structure is changed. And it's not only the vocabulary, but also the sentence structure. Okay? Changing a few words is what we call as patchwork plagiarism. It's like when you have a pen, patch pen, it's like you are just putting patches on your pens. It does the same way with this kind of plagiarism. You are trying to patch something which is able to be changed, but you are not entirely changing the whole thing. Let's move to the direct citation. Okay, so this is what we are put in the notice before in the previous slide. So direct citation based on the APA style is divided into two. The first one is short quotation and the second one is long quotation. The way we are making short and long quotations are different. Take a look at the first one. Short quotation include the author, year of publication, okay, and then page number of the reference, and you do not forget the quotation marks. It is claimed as a short quotation if it consists of less than 40 words. So you need to count the words, okay? Because our word application has an anatomic word count, so you can use that facility to help you measure if it is long or short quotation, okay? And what about long quotation? So long quotation consists of 40 words just copying and pasting, but the way they are putting the citation inside the text can be an error. So what is the difference between the first and the second versions, guys?
The column that you used to make when citing, when setting a citation, period column and something like that need to be considered. Like the first one, according to Jones, with years and column, the quotation mark. I think it's correct rather than the one below.
Okay, so the second one is incorrect.
In
Or
my
both of them
opinion,
are correct?
Because why is that? When the site citation cited at the first or before the text itself, it should be after the years it should be a comma.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much for noticing the punctuation. Well, the punctuation is actually not a problem. But what I would like you to notice is how direct quotation is written differently. Take a look at the first one. We use according to. If you use according to Jones, make sure that the year is inside the bracket, okay? And the name of the author is outside the brackets. Okay, this is like a frequent error the students did. And don't forget to put a comma. Okay. But if you use a reporting verb, found is a reporting verb, okay, you do not need a comma. Okay. This is like the style of writing the quotation. This is without a reporting verb, but you can use according to, or maybe in regards with, or based on Jones 1988 and so on. But this one is a reporting verb. Get the idea? So far so good? Okay. So maybe you might find a problem in practice later. Okay, let's move on to the indirect quotation. Okay. Indirect quotation in Bahasa Indonesia is also called as kutipan tidak langsung. So, it means that we do not copy and paste, but we are doing two strategies. The first one is paraphrasing. The second one is summary writing. If we take a look at how they are done, paraphrasing only needs author's last name and year of publication, and the line of the text produced is similar to the original one. Let's say the original one consists of two sentences, okay? So the paraphrased version is supposed to be similar to the number of sentences in the original one. But summary writing, like its name, is a summary, yeah? It comes from a very long text, longer text, and then the produced version is usually shorter than the original one. Let's take a look at the example, guys. This is the paraphrasing style. So there is only one sentence, so we try to make it into one sentence paraphrase version. Students often have difficulty using APA style, especially when it was their first time. So we need to restructure the sentence to make sure that it sounds differently. Take a look. Students often have difficulty, so maybe we can say, students found it challenging to use APA style, so we substitute the word difficulty with challenging. So we are trying to change often had with found it, okay? That is why it sounds a bit different. And then during the first time, on the original one, it is a clause. It is an adverb clause when it was their first time. And then on the paraphrased version, it becomes a phrase during their first time. Get the idea? So you see the changes, right?
Ma'am,
Yes.
what happens if we are citing something and paraphrase it, but we are making it longer than the original?
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, as long as the idea is still the same. So the focus is on the maintaining the idea, even though it might be longer or it might be a bit shorter, but it cannot be significantly shorter because it is a paraphrasing. Okay? Get the idea? Okay. Now, I would like you to practice now. Still with the same original version. Do you have a different one? A different version for the paraphrasing? about your project is... Yes. Oh, you can actually mix between English and Indonesia. Okay, so we've actually met last week, yeah? Now, let's see chapter 1. Oh yeah, I see. Okay. Wow, it's pretty good. Let's say communication converse. Oh, very nice. This one is nice. Let's take a look at the statements of the problems. Okay, so take a look at this one. It's supposed to be passive. If you take a look at the whole sentence, the whole question, what precedent principles were used, right? Yes, to make it passive. What precedent strategies? What about this one? What is the answer? Yeah.
From the beginning, I want to talk about the evac.
Okay. The effects.
Yeah, evacs. But you tell me that better to use strategies.
Okay, yeah. It is actually okay, Anissa, to study the effects of the advertisement, but the responsibility is actually heavier than studying your own performance. Get the idea? So it is actually okay. But if you would like to take that challenge, then you are very welcome. But you have to make sure that the instruments is more complex than just studying your own performance in using English in promoting products. Get the difference, honey. Okay, so you decide whether you would like to take the challenge, the harder challenge, or you would like to make it more simple.